Touchdown! This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Sartor Hamann Jewelers is celebrating 119 years as Lincoln's top choice for fine jewelry. Join us for our anniversary sale, going on now through October 20th. Enjoy an exclusive 20% off on in-stock items, including dazzling diamond jewelry, exquisite rings, and luxury watches. This once-a-year event is our way of saying thank you to the community that has supported us for over a century. Mark your calendars and celebrate this milestone with us by indulging in spectacular savings, only at Sartor Hamann Jewelers.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Abby with Midwest Bank. Stop by our new location at 70th and Pioneers. Our new full-service branch does it all. From our friendly staff to our easy online banking and mobile app, you get all the technology of a big bank that you need, but you still get the hometown customer service that you want. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Hey guys, it's Nick. You know how much I love beer, and this game day, show your Husker pride with Deer-owned Nebraska Brew, the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. Brewed by Nebraska fans, for Nebraska fans, Deer-owned Nebraska Brew is your go-to for every kickoff, touchdown, and celebration. Whether it's tailgating, watching the game at home, or gathering with friends, this beer is there to bring that perfect game day refreshment. Deer-owned Nebraska Brew embodies the spirit of Nebraska with every sip. So crack one open and let the good times roll. Deer-owned Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni. Please drink responsibly. The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today. Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
This is State Senator Carolyn Bazin. Public safety is important in our community. I have a proven record of protecting public safety. I have prosecuted perpetrators of domestic violence, advocated for the rights of child abuse victims, held sexual predators accountable, and fought to keep drug traffickers off our streets. This is Senator Carolyn Bazin, and I will continue to fight to keep our community safe. Vote Carolyn Bazin on November 5th. Paid for by Bazin for Legislature.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we want to thank all of our customers for a great September. And now it's time for our annual Halloween sales event happening right now at Koppel. Get 0% financing at Koppel. You heard right, 0% financing on select new models. Also, huge discounts up to $11,500 are available. It's our annual Halloween sales event. Get $11,500 off or 0% financing at Koppel. So please stop on by or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. 0% with roof credit.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome, everybody, into the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com, the social medias, obviously radio, TV, podcast platforms, every freaking where. Also, the Carriker Chronicles. Check it out on YouTube at Carriker Chronicles. Also, the website for all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. It's just science, ladies and gentlemen. CarrikerChronicles.com. All right. If you didn't know, now you're going to know. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. Grab your lunch. Come join me. All right. It's the show that's going to give you unique insights, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun. Jake, on your toast today was 99 divided by 3.
33.
Hey, you actually got it right. I had to think about it for a second. Atta boy. He's on his toes. He's ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. On Wednesday, join former All-American Nebraska quarterback Steve Taylor. Basically, it's one of the most loaded hours in radio. A lot of great content here on The Ticket and noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. I hope you join us and have a whole lot of fun, just as producer Jake and I do each and every day. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I want to give final bye week thoughts on the Huskers. It is a loaded weekend of college football. I gave a smidge of a hint yesterday as to who I'm going to take in the game of the week, which is Ohio State, Oregon. But there's a lot of other games to talk about. USC, Penn State. You got Texas, Oklahoma. We're going to talk about Kansas State, Colorado, which is actually one of the most intriguing games of the week. And if you're one of those people that, I don't want to hear Colorado anymore, I'm going to shock you with this. So right now, Kansas State has the third best odds to win the Big 12. Kansas State has the third best odds. Colorado is the seventh best. If Colorado wins this game, that means they're going to vault to the top, right up there with BYU, who's undefeated, Iowa State, who's undefeated, and they have a chance to beat any of those teams because Kansas State is as good as anybody in the Big 12 conference. And yes, I know they got drugged by BYU. But my point, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. But I've been saying it since we played them. Colorado is much better than they were last year. If they have a chance to win the Big 12, that means they have a chance to be in the college football playoff. This game versus Kansas State is almost as intriguing as Ohio State, Oregon is to me. It's probably more intriguing than Texas, Oklahoma, just because I have a feeling I know how that game is going to go, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Oh, I feel like I'm missing a game in there. There's another big game. What am I missing, Jake?
There's Ole Miss LSU.
There
15.
it is. Yeah. Ole Miss LSU. I'm more intrigued by Colorado, Kansas State than I am Ole Miss LSU because neither one of those teams is going to make the SEC championship game at this point, and I don't really care about the SEC beyond who's going to make the title game. They might sneak into the back door of the college football playoff as an 11 seed right ahead of the group of 5 team at the 12th seed, but that's really about it. It's probably the second most intriguing game of the weekend. So I've said I will talk about Colorado, Dion, because they're interesting, especially when they're appropriately interesting. And if they beat Kansas State, they're all of a sudden 5-1, and they got to be one of the favorites in the Big 12, which makes them a college football playoff contender. And also, I'm going to offer some shocking thoughts. I said earlier this year that Shedeur Sanders was not a top quarterback. When I said that, I meant it. I'm still staying with that. But if you noticed, every time I said that, I projected to the NFL. Did I refer to what he did in college at all, other than how he conducts himself? I projected everything to the NFL. When you look at his college stats and what he has to deal with, he might actually be underrated as a college quarterback because he's being overshadowed by his dad, and people are just sick of Colorado right now. But we're going to save that for the second segment. All right, I want to start off. Final thoughts. Nebraska, actually, I want to start off with something completely different. Des Moines Adams All right, a guy that was a senior when I was a freshman, a guy that I look up to still to this day. All right, check out his show here on The Ticket, 5 to 6 p.m. every Tuesday evening. Teammates sat right there and accused me of wearing medium shirts. And I didn't see my wife's text. She listens to the show every day. She's highly intelligent, but she texted me, and I didn't see it till after the show. She said, Adam, you need to point out that you wear all 2XL shirts. And I wish I'd have seen that while the show was going on. Because I'm like, holy crap, she's right. Every shirt I wear is 2XL. All right. Everything below the waist is extra, extra, extra large. If you know what I mean. Keep it clean's family show, Jake. Mm-hmm. I wear 2XLs. So here's what I'm going to say to Demo. Demo, if you're listening, you're my guy. Much love. And I would have said this to you yesterday, except I didn't see the text. And frankly, you kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect you to come into my show and talk about some medium shirts, but it's all good. That's the unpredictability. You never know what's going to happen on this show. But if I make 2XL shirts look like mediums, and I say this with all the love in the world, and you started this, if you make mediums look like 2XLs, that's not my fault, my brother. And you got my number. If you're listening, you can call in. We'll put you right on the radio. But I had to point that out. And again, I wish I'd have seen that text while the show was going on. All right. The Locker Room. That's a phenomenal show right after here, 1 to 2 p.m. every day. I saw a clip. I believe it was Wednesday's show, maybe Tuesday. And they shared a story about Scott Frost in Oregon and Christian McCaffrey. You were here for this, Jake.
Yeah.
You probably are the one who clipped it and put it out, and that's how I saw it.
That's right.
Basically, Christian McCaffrey, if you didn't see it, was being recruited by everybody as a wide receiver. Scott Frost, at this point, is the offensive coordinator at Oregon in Eugene. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because as soon as I heard this story, I was 0% surprised. Christian McCaffrey was leaning towards going to Oregon. And they were going to be the only school that's going to play him at running back. Well, ultimately, Stanford ends up playing him there. But at this point in time in his recruiting process, he was probably going to go to Oregon, leaning that way, because they were going to play him at running back. And he wanted to be a running back. Turns out he's a pretty good running back. He's walking by, and they're having an offensive staff meeting. Frost stands up, talks about, hey, Christian believes he's going to come here and play running back. We're going to move him to wide receiver. Okay, not being up front with everything. Christian walks in the room, said, don't worry about it. I'm not coming here. Obviously, he went to Stanford, and the rest is history. But they pointed out on the Locker Room, again, check out that show, 1 to 2 p.m. every day. They do a great job. They pointed out that that's why Christian kind of always had an issue with Frost, and that's why he didn't want Luke, his younger brother, to come here. I bring this up because I was not surprised. People ask me, not so much anymore, but a couple of years ago, they would ask me all the time, why didn't Frost work out? Why didn't he work out? Why didn't he work out? I couldn't have painted a better example of why he didn't work out. His X's and O's were great. He actually recruited at a top 20 level, which is about adjacent to what Matt Rule's doing right now. Nebraska's always had top 20 talent, just not top 20 results. But when you're not upfront and honest, those are the things that people hear about. Those are the things that get around, and players don't buy into what you're doing. Not going to spend a lot of time on this, but when I heard that story, I was like, yep, that makes sense. My first conversation with Frost, after he was hired, I got a call from an Oregon number, and I didn't connect the dots. I answer, and the guy goes, it's Scott. I'm still not connecting the dots. I'm like, this is like out of the blue, by the way, early in the morning. I put together, it's Scott. Within 5 minutes, he had a lot to say about certain folks. It wasn't really, hi, hello, how you doing, Adam? Good to meet you. Good to chat with you. We'd actually met 20 years ago, but there's no way he remembers that. It was immediate, his frustrations with a particular individual who happened to be one of his former teammates, I might add. And that really caught me off guard. My point is, it doesn't matter how well you can recruit and how good you are at X's and O's. If you are not upfront with things and you do not talk to people to their face, they're not going to buy in, and other people are going to find out, and then they're not going to buy in. Again, not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I couldn't give you a more perfect example as to why Scott Frost, who should have worked out here, didn't. Does that make sense, Jake?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because you hear about, like, Christian McCaffrey was such a top recruit at the time. So, like, I understand that there's probably multiple teams. You can see why he would be people would be interested in him as a wide receiver as well. And you go back to, recruiting stories of like Amir Abdullah, who was told he was going to play defensive back all these other places. I can't remember what it was. I think I have to think about like Husker coaches telling, even have made their own mistakes in the recruiting. So it's a lot easier to go back now and say, hey, that great guy should have never, heard any story about him playing a different position. But, it's a high school kid. It's a little bit of a different story. So, it's one of those things that doesn't look good as the years pass.
It's the upfront and honesty and or lack thereof. Like and I'm not going to say it was just Scott Frost. I took a recruiting visit to Oregon. Okay. And you got to keep in mind, I was way before Chip Kelly or Scott was there. It was Mike Bellotti was there, who was there for like 20 plus years. And I knew he wanted me to play defensive end. If you remember, I was a high school quarterback. I was much higher recruited as a high school quarterback. And I sat in his office with my dad. He looked me in the eye. And I have no idea if he was lying or not. But I'll tell you what my dad and I both thought as we walked out of his office. He looked me in the eye and said, we're going to bring you in as a quarterback, because he knew that's what I wanted. He said, if it doesn't work out, we'll switch you over to D-end. Offered me a scholarship. Walked out of that office, looked at my dad, and I don't know Mike Bellotti beyond the few interactions we had. He could have been telling me the 100% truth, but I looked at my dad and I said, I don't believe him. My dad said, I don't either. We're not interested. Now, he could have been telling me the truth, but neither one of us believed him. Neither one of us hesitated to say it to each other. So I'm not saying it's just Scott Frost. What I am saying is when I heard that story, I was 0% surprised, because it's consistent with things I've experienced and things other people have experienced, and they've relayed to me. So if you've ever wondered why Scott Frost didn't work out, it's an example. All right. Again, this is bi-week topic conversation. Also, that story, when I heard it the other day, I was like, dang, I couldn't give you a better example. Not going to spend any more time on it unless you got any other thoughts, Jake.
No, that's all I got.
All right. Final bye-week thoughts when it comes to the Huskers. And before the first break, I want to give my breakdown and prediction of Ohio State, Oregon. When we come back, all the other major games from this weekend. And somehow, is Shedeur Sanders actually underrated as a college quarterback? All right, we'll talk about that after the break. But before then, my final bye-week thoughts are this. Nebraska has improved in the two most important areas they had to improve in. Talked about this before, so I'll keep it brief. The quarterback play and the turnover margin. +6 in the turnover margin, which is top 15 in the country. Huge. The quarterback play, much improved. The ability to pass the ball, much improved. A guy like Malachi Coleman, who is insanely talented, and I can't wait to see what he does starting next year when he comes back off this red shirt. But think about this. He was starting last year as a true freshman. A year later, he's redshirting. What's that tell you about where the wide receiver room was a year ago, with all due respect? They had to start a guy who clearly wasn't ready. A guy who now, a year later, still needed to redshirt. And to be clear, he's tall, fast, athletic. He was the number one recruit in the state of Nebraska for a freaking reason. When Isaiah and Jamal graduate and they're done and he gets an opportunity to get into this wide receiver mix, he's going to be fun to watch. So to be clear, it's nothing but excitement to see what he can do, but he needed this year to develop. The pass game, taking care of the ball, much improved. The defense is intriguing because 2 rough quarters versus Illinois kind of jades how people look at it a little bit. Obviously, a big 2 quarters plus the overtime, but the other 22 quarters, they played well. One of the best run defenses in the entire country. They're much improved this year when it comes to forcing turnovers. I do think the tackling has faltered a little bit because it's that fine line. It's that catch-22. It's the I'm trying to get the ball out. You might miss a few more tackles. We're going to secure every freaking tackle. You might not get the ball out as much. Again, I've talked about this in the past. The best way to do it, first guy in, secure the tackle. The next guy in, you're stripping for the ball. Trying to get that ball out. That's the best way to do it safely. They're much improved when it comes to forcing turnovers. They lead the Big Ten in sacks, 20 sacks on the season. You look at a guy like James Williams, the top 5 Big Ten defensive linemen when it comes to pressure rates. Number 2, Derek Harmon, 13.6% of the time. Number 3, Anto Saka, 12.7% of the time. Oregon and Northwestern are their schools respectively. Jack Sawyer, 11.8% of the time at Ohio State. All right. Dennis Sutton, 11.2% of the time. 5-star recruit out of high school, plays at Penn State. Abdul Carter isn't even in the top 5, and that guy's a top 10 pick. The other defensive end, edge rusher from Penn State. Number 1, James Williams, Nebraska. 16.7% of the time he's on the field, he's getting pressure on the quarterback. In fairness, a lot of the other guys are out there for all 3 downs, but that's still number 1 in the Big Ten is the guy in our defensive room. We're getting after the quarterback better. We're forcing turnovers better. The biggest thing is getting off the field more consistently, more effectively, no matter who we're playing, whether it's Purdue, whether it's Rutgers, whether it's Illinois, Northern Iowa, it doesn't matter. That's really the only thing they're missing in my eyes is the ability to get off the field consistently on 3rd downs, regardless of who the opponent is, at a much higher rate. Obviously, it gets more difficult the more difficult the opponent is. Black shirts playing well. I don't want to say they single-handedly won the Rutgers game because Brian Brusini had a hand in there. Obviously, it's a team effort. But when the opponent starts with the ball at year 2, they don't score. Wow. They start year 28. They don't score. Wow. They don't score until late in the 4th quarter after your offense has struggled the entire second half and your special teams has not been very good, to put it kindly. The defense was the difference in that game. All right. Special teams. As we know, and I actually just interviewed Drew Brown this morning. I'll release that interview next week. Number 2 all-time in Nebraska football history as far as field goals made. All right, top 4 in points scored. Has several school records. But he talked about, it was funny, the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally without me ever bringing it up. He said, if you're a kicker and you're not sure about the snap and you're not sure about the hole and you're not sure about the protection, I said, can't you just block all that out and do your best? He's like, yeah, you can, but it's still in the back of your mind. So it all goes together, and obviously the kicker's got to kick better. John Hull's got all the talent in the world. All right, 1 of 5 on the year so far, field goals made. Got to improve on that. Hopefully Tristan Alvano can come back sooner rather than later. This is a guy who owns several Class A school records throughout the state of Nebraska. Made a 50-yarder, made a 45-yard game-winning field goal of the state championship on the line. Not only does he have rare skill, talent, and a big leg and accuracy, he's got the clutch gene because he's shown it. You just got to do it on Saturdays. I think if he could just make like his next 2 or 3 field goals in a row, whenever he comes back, all he needs is that confidence boost, and he's going to take off. My final thoughts on the bye week is I would like to maintain passing the ball well, taking care of the ball, but I'd like to get back to averaging about 4.5 yards per carry instead of 3.9 when we're running the ball. Let's improve the running game. Let's get back to just close to what we were last year. Defensively, tackle more efficiently, get off the field on 3rd downs. But basically, don't have any letdown quarters, and you're easily one of the top 10 to top 5 defenses in the country. That's all they're really missing. Special teams, I said it before. I'd love for us to be average to above average. Let's start with just slightly below average to where you're not a liability on the field. Let's get there, and then let's get to average by the end of the season. We don't have to make gigantic improvements in any area, well, except for special teams. A gigantic improvement would be getting to average. And I'm not trying to take jabs. It just is what it is. 2 + 2 = 4, no matter how badly you want it to equal 5. Facts don't care about feelings, okay? It is what it is. That's why when people send in texts and they correct something I say wrong, hey, my feelings don't matter either. It's the facts that matter. So my final thoughts are we've gotten better in appropriate areas in the offseason, areas where we needed to. Now we need to target these other areas and just get back to being close to either what we were a year ago or in some departments just being relatively average. And with all the other improvements we've made in other areas, this team can at least win 3 of their last 6 games. I mean, I've got guys coming on some of my shows predicting Nebraska to go 10-2, and I'm like, what? Are you crazy? No, when you look at the talent, the size, and the ability, Ohio State probably has a little bit more talent. We're probably equivalent to USC, but we're bigger. Nobody else on the rest of our schedule has as much talent, just pure talent composite ranking as Nebraska does. But it's that consistency day in and day out that is the most difficult thing to do in sports. And if Nebraska can do that in some of the areas they just need to improve on a little bit, get back to where they were last year, running the ball on offense, getting off the field on defense, special teams as a whole, the areas that they've improved on, which is forcing turnovers, getting after the quarterback on defense, they've vastly improved there, throwing the ball, taking care of the ball on offense. And again, just get better on special teams. This is a team that can play with and compete with anybody on the rest of their schedule. And if they could keep it within a touchdown of Ohio State, anything can happen. But within a touchdown, this team can do some good things, or the bottom can completely fall out as well. All right. Do we got time to do Ohio State, Oregon before the break? We got to go after.
Probably go after.
Fine. Jake's bossing me around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do Ohio State, Oregon after the break. Is Shedeur Sanders underrated? And then we will go through all of the major games from this weekend. And hopefully you don't have to go to any fall weekends this Saturday. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
If you're not advertising your business on your vehicle, you're missing out on a lot of potential clients, and it's time to change that. Automotive Solutions excels in vinyl wraps and company IDs. They offer BG services with free warranties available, and they service all cars and diesel trucks too. They also service fleets, and if you push snow in the winter, get ahead now with your vehicles. Don't forget, ticket listeners receive a service discount on preventative maintenance. Call Automotive Solutions for an appointment at 531-249-5600 and stop by at 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last. Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store. Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Starter Heyman Jewelers is celebrating 119 years as Lincoln's top choice for fine jewelry. Join us for our anniversary sale going on now through October 20th. Enjoy an exclusive 20% off on in-stock items, including dazzling diamond jewelry, exquisite rings, and luxury watches. This once-a-year event is our way of saying thank you to the community that has supported us for over a century. Mark your calendars and celebrate this milestone with us by indulging in spectacular savings only at Starter Heyman Jewelers.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket, the show that gives you unique insights, unbridled honesty. And producer Jake, as long as he's awake, we're going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. We talk about medium shirts and coaches of yesteryear, and also our favorite team that nobody wants to talk about, Colorado, but we'll get to them. But we got some text via the text line. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to be better. I want to hear more from you folks on a more consistent basis. I need to be better about reminding to send in text and reading the text. So, Jake, do we have a couple of texts, and what do they say?
Yeah, let's head over to the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. We've got a few thoughts here. 3789 chimes in. Awesome to have you back in Lincoln, Adam. Keep up the great Husker coverage, good sir.
Thank you.
We got a text in here from 6045. The best defense is one standing on the sideline.
So hold on. Pause. My wife called me. She's like, our son sent in a text to your text line. That's kind of what prompted me to look at the text line. Again, I just need to do it more often. Jake, this is your fault. I'm going to blame you. You got to remind me more often. All right. If something goes wrong on the show, it's you. If it goes right, it's me. Let's just get this straight. This is how this works. All right. And she's like, Jacob sent in a text. And so I was like, all right, what's it say? So what did it say?
It says the best defense is one standing on the sideline.
That's hard to argue. I tell you what. Anytime an underdog's playing an opposing team with an explosive offense, what do the commentators or analysts always say is the best way to upset them? Control the ball, control the clock, keep that explosive quarterback, typically that explosive offense off the field. Okay. A lot of validity to that point. All right. Jacob is highly intelligent. Obviously, gets it from his mom. What's next?
Nice. What blanket chimes in? Why, with essentially the same offensive line and same running backs, with a better passing game, did Nebraska's run game get worse? Does quarterback run game make that much of a difference?
So I get this a lot because our run game, we were close to 5 yards per carry, number 2 rushing offense in the Big Ten last year. Now we're 3.9 yards per carry, nowhere near the top half. And what I get a lot, and I've talked about this before, but I have never been specifically asked about the quarterback run game. It's just been pointed out to me, but never in a question form. So it gets pointed out to me a lot. Hey, Adam, we don't have the quarterback running the ball. And so the question is, how much does that affect? Is it more on the offensive line? Did we just get worse at running the ball? Was it because we don't have the quarterback running the ball? Here's what I'll tell you. The offensive line is not blocking. I mean, I was trying to think of a different way, a nice way to put it. The offensive line is not run blocking very well right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't run the ball on Purdue. That was the straw that broke. That was the last of the straws for me. And ever since then, I've been like, this is unacceptable. Purdue was the worst run defense in the Big Ten Conference. I don't know what they've done since. Oh, you know what they've done since? They went out and they lost to Wisconsin 52-7. Who doesn't have their starting quarterback or running back. So I doubt if their run defense stats got any better. So I feel pretty safe in saying they're the worst run defense in the Big Ten still. And they were 130th out of 133 teams in all of FBS. And we couldn't run the ball on them. I put out a post on all my social medias. Hashtag cheap plug, Facebook, X, finally stopped calling it Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok. And said, we're playing the 130th run defense in the country. Dead last in the Big Ten. I'd like to request more runs. And I got bombarded with fans saying, and they were right, by the way, are you watching the game? There's no holes. And I was like, you're right. I guess I'm just frustrated that there's no holes. I'm not arguing with the fact that there were no holes. The bottom line is the offensive line is much better at pass protecting this year. Exponentially better. Had to be that way with a true freshman quarterback. I didn't realize we digressed in the run game so much. 3.9 yards per carry. Couldn't run the ball on Purdue. Now, as far as the question pertaining exactly to how much does the quarterback run game not being a part of our offense this year affect the run game? So again, you have not heard me speak in totality. I have not talked about total rush yards per game. I have not talked about total rush yards on the season. I always come back to yards per carry because we're throwing the ball more often. Our yards per carry has gone down. So the quarterback run game is not a part of the repertoire, not on a consistent basis at all. I remember one 15-yard run I think Dylan had versus Northern Iowa. The kid can run if it's wide open. He's got the ability, but not part of the repertoire on a consistent basis. That's fair to say, and that's okay. Keep throwing the ball the way you have, Dylan. Don't change a thing, man. Just keep growing, getting better as far as throwing the rock downfield, slinging that thing. What I'm going to say is we could not throw the ball last year. We had no real threats at wide receiver, with all due respect. We were starting a kid who's insanely talented, but is redshirting this year. So you think he was ahead last year of where he is this year, where they wanted to redshirt him? As talented as he is, he needs time. That's okay. I redshirted. Nothing wrong with redshirting. I didn't start for my first 2 or 3 years at Nebraska. I think I was a sophomore when I started. That's okay. So the wide receivers weren't creating separation. We weren't great at pass blocking. We struggled throwing the ball. There wasn't a whole lot of people to throw the ball to or time to throw it. So we had to run the ball. So in totality, our rush yards should be up per game and the season. Yards per carry, when you're way more predictable, I'm telling you right now, our yards per carry should not have gone down because we can throw the ball. We run the ball 52% of the time, throw it 48% of the time. It was like 2-to-1 last year. We're talking like 67% to 33%, if not a little bit higher. My point is, when you run the ball, it should be way less predictable. They can't stack the box. I would have put 9 guys in the box last year, cover 0, no free safeties deep, and I would have gone man-to-man, and I would have said, beat us throwing the ball. Because we're going to stop you running the ball and make you throw the ball. That's what I would have said last year. They can't do that this year. We have threats on the outside. We got big targets at tight end that are even better than they were a year ago in Fedorny and Berkshire. The offensive line can protect better. We have 4 talented running backs. 2 guys seem to have kind of emerged, maybe. Emmett Johnson, Dante Dowdell. So my point is simply this. The yards per carry should be higher because it's less predictable, and when we do run, the lane should be there. Just because we're not running as much, that's why I go to yards per carry. Spent way too much time on that question. Anything else?
Oh, it's just interesting going back and looking at the stats, too. I just noticed Harburg. I forgot that Harburg led the team in rushing last year.
Yes, he did. That's never, I don't want to say never good. It's rarely good when the quarterback leads the team in rushing. But here's the thing. It's a consistent theme at Nebraska. Martinez did it for years. Luke McCaffrey, the few games that he started, was our leading rusher at quarterback. It's not a good thing when it's consistently your quarterback. I don't even care if you're Army, Navy, Air Force. It should not consistently be your running back, or your quarterback. I'm sorry. It should not consistently be your quarterback. It should be one of your running backs. All right. Any other questions?
Not so far.
Did I take up all the time? All right. What's the number again?
424645685. The Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line.
Send your questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, or otherwise. I love engaging with the people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ohio State, Oregon, number 2 versus number 3. Ohio State's about a 3.5-point favorite. That's pretty impressive. You go on the road, you go 2 time zones to a top 5 team in the country, one of the noisiest, most difficult places to play. Not one of the largest. I would argue, though, Michigan Stadium's 110,000, not that loud. Autzen Stadium, 55,000, louder. It's the way it's built. And frankly, it's the fans in the stands are kind of crazy. All right, Michigan people are a little bit more suit and tie, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they don't tend to be quite as vocal and loud. And you're a 3.5-point favorite. That tells you what people think of Ohio State. I'm going to tell you right now. I think Ohio State's going to play Oregon, the Big Ten championship game, in a rematch. I think they're going to win that game. I think they're the best team in the country. You can argue Alabama's as talented, Georgia's as talented, and I've said this even before either one of those teams lost a game. The difference is Ohio State has veteran talent. Look at Michigan last year, veteran leadership on that team. They were the 14th most talented team in the country, talent composite ranking-wise, yet they were the best team in the country. Washington, again, veteran talent. In this day and age of the COVID eligibility and guys playing for 5-6 years, that's ginormous. That extra year or two. And you accumulate a roster full of these guys. It's a ginormous advantage. Ohio State is the most talented roster with a bunch of veterans on it. That being said, well, before I give my official prediction, I kind of gave it away yesterday. Oregon, you look at some of the specifics in this game. Oregon is number 6 in the country in getting after the passer, pressure rate. Ohio State's offensive line, a gigantic question mark coming into this season. Ohio State's offensive line was. That was the big question mark in Will Howard, who's still a question mark. And so is the offensive line. They haven't played anybody. Akron, Western Michigan, you're not going to learn a lot there. They also haven't opened up their playbook. I doubt if Chip Kelly was sitting there, let's do this to Akron and Western Michigan, and show Oregon and everybody else what we're doing, with all due respect to those schools. Ohio State's offensive line is the number 1 offensive line in the country right now. Haven't played anybody, but right now, when it comes to protecting the quarterback and not allowing a high percentage of pressure rate. You look at Ohio State and Oregon as a whole. The last 2 years, they are 1 and 2 in the country as far as point differential. In other words, they beat their opponents by more amount of points than anybody else in the country. They're 1 and 2. Oregon's offensive line was thought to be a strength. I was one of those people, and we haven't seen it yet. I was one of those people, they look like a Big Ten team playing out in the Pac-12 a season ago. Now they look like a Big Ten team in the Big Ten, and their offensive line was going to be one of the strengths of their team. And it hasn't looked great so far. Again, outside of Boise State, they haven't played a bunch of high competition. You could argue this is a bunch of, well, Oregon hasn't seen this, and Ohio State hasn't seen this, and, well, neither team's seen a lot of things just yet outside of in practice. We're not privy to what happens in practice, in totality anyway. So there's going to be a lot of things that probably get exposed because it's the first time Dillon Gabriel's going to see a defensive backfield, the best defensive backfield in the country. Caleb Downs, probably the best safety in the country. Preseason All-Americans, the 4 secondary players, 2 DBs, 2 safeties. Ohio State had 2 of the 4. Preseason first-team All-Americans. Dillon Gabriel's going to set all sorts of records. NCAA college football career passing records from yards to touchdowns if he stays on pace by the time this season is over. The secondary at Ohio State's not seen a quarterback like that. The quarterback at Oregon, Dillon Gabriel's not seen a secondary like that. It's all over the field. It's the first time both these teams are going to see a lot of things this year. So you can say, hey, this team hasn't seen this team hasn't seen that. So to me, it's a prove-it game. There's probably going to be things exposed about both teams. There's no team this year that just looks like far and away the best team in the country. Not just far and away. Here's what I'm going to say. Will Howard, the quarterback position to me, traveling 2 time zones, where the Big Ten teams that have traveled 2 time zones or more this year are 1 and 7. Out of the 8 times this happened this year, 1 win, 7 losses, Autzen Stadium, and Will Howard is a running quarterback. He's adjacent to Kyle McCord passing-wise, I believe. I don't think he was an upgrade or a downgrade. He's adjacent to, but he's a better runner. He hasn't run much this year. He hasn't had to. I'm excited to see what they do with him in the run game. Quinshawn Judkins, best back in the SEC last year, transfers in. Travion Henderson, the best back in the Big Ten, because Blake Corum left and Donovan Edwards isn't, I don't know. He's not even starting right now. I don't know why. So he's probably the best back in the Big Ten that's returning anyways, all in the same backfield. Then you got a 6'4", 235-pound quarterback who can run. They haven't shown it yet. I can't wait to see Ohio State's first drive and what that looks like. Oregon has 5-star defenders all over the field. I'm going with Oregon to win this game. I don't think they're the better team. They have not looked like even a top 4 team so far this year, outside of when they thumped their in-state rivals, Oregon State, who's a part of the mighty Pac-7 or whatever that conference is now. I'm taking Oregon because of the travel, the home field advantage, the fact that I think the margins are so razor thin in this game. I think Oregon's going to put Will Howard in some sort of a position. He's thrown interceptions in 3 straight games to lesser competition and less tough environments, and he's going to be forced to pass the ball at some point, which he hasn't had to do yet this year. And if he proves me wrong, I can live with that, because I want a Big Ten team to win a national championship, and Ohio State's our best opportunity right now. But something tells me Dillon Gabriel versus Will Howard is going to be the difference in this game. And Oregon's going to put Will Howard in a position he hasn't been in this year, and there might be a big mistake at a big moment, and Oregon comes out and wins this game. That's what I've got. All right. Colorado, Kansas State. We got time?
Nope, we don't have time.
We got to go to break?
We could probably go to break, and then
it's a great teaser anyways.
A nice tease.
It's a great teaser anyways. When we come back, Colorado Kansas State. Is Shedeur Sanders underrated? And then we will predict Texas, Oklahoma. We will also predict USC, Penn State, LSU, Ole Miss. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session, and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
If you're not advertising your business on your vehicle, you're missing out on a lot of potential clients, and it's time to change that. Automotive Solutions excels in vinyl wraps and company IDs. They offer BG services with free warranties available, and they service all cars and diesel trucks too. They also service fleets, and if you push snow in the winter, get ahead now with your vehicles. Don't forget, ticket listeners receive a service discount on preventative maintenance. Call Automotive Solutions for an appointment at 531-249-5600 and stop by at 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today. Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. All right, we got to jam 5 game predictions into about the next 10 minutes. We're going to start off with Kansas State, Colorado. I already gave my prediction for Ohio State, Oregon. Jake said that could be the college football game of the year, and he's not wrong. But man, if it's better than that Bama-Georgia game was, we are talking about a game possibly of the century already. All right, Kansas State, Colorado. Here's a few interesting nuggets. Let's start with Colorado. They are awful at running the ball. They're 126 in the country. Their leading rusher has 80 less total rushing yards this year than Kansas State's third leading rusher. Okay. Did that make sense? Did that come out right?
Yeah.
Their leading rusher has 80 yards less than Kansas State's third leading rusher. Kansas State is the number 7. Talk about complete opposites. Number 7 rushing offense in the country. All right. And this is where I got to actually give Shedeur Sanders some credit when it comes to being a college quarterback. He has no run game to speak of. No help. By the way, Colorado, when it comes to protecting the quarterback, they're 109th in the country when it comes to pressure rate allowed. Now, conversely, they can make some big plays. Kansas State is 108th in the country in big plays allowed, and most of those have been through the air. Here's where I almost wonder if being Deion's kid, plus it doesn't help that, Shedeur hasn't endured himself to a lot of people, including me. I stick by my NFL statement, and if I'm wrong, hey, I'll eat crow one day, no problem. But as far as a college quarterback, no run game to help, running for his life. The defense has actually improved at Colorado. Here's an interesting stat. A season ago, 14 different players either had 100 rushing yards or 100 receiving yards against them. Do you know how many players have done it this year so far against Colorado? Hint, it's less than 14. Or this is a terrible point. 0. They're not great on defense, but they're better. They're awful at running the ball. They're awful at protecting the quarterback. Yet he's top 10 in the country in passing yards, total passing yards. He's top 10 in the country in touchdown passes, and he's top 15 in the country in completion percentage. So for anybody who thought I was just bashing Shedeur Sanders, no, I gave my honest opinion. I don't like the way he conducts himself off the field. He's not a leader. But his play, with the lack of help he's receiving on offense, is going under the radar, I think partially because people are sick of Colorado and because Deion kind of overshadows him. And his, some of his actions off the field haven't endured himself to people. As far as a college quarterback, I somehow think he's actually underrated. As an NFL prospect, I don't think he's a leader in the locker room, and I actually think he's overrated. I know that may not make sense to some, but it makes sense to Jake because I can tell by the look on his face. I wasn't even looking at him when I said that. All right. Kansas State's a 4.5-point favorite. This is a coin flip. Kansas State's a team that lost by 29 points to BYU, yet a lot of people think they have the third best odds to win the Big 12, but a lot of people think they're the best team in the Big 12. Iowa State's undefeated. BYU's undefeated. By the way, BYU is the only team in the country that's undefeated, beat 2 ranked teams. And then I know some people who think they don't even belong in the top 25. Our guy Josh Pate's one of them, by the way. That blows my mind. Yet he's got Kansas State, who they beat by 29 points in the top 25. Kansas State did outgain BYU that night by over 200 yards. And they had 4 turnovers. That's why they lost. All right. I'm going to go. Man. Kansas State's just not been good on the road. They almost lost to Tulane. They got boat raced I was going to say in Utah, but then you think it's Utah. When they played at BYU in Provo, I'm going to go with Colorado. I'm actually rooting for Colorado to do good because it makes us look better. And I like when Deion's teams are doing better because I find him intriguing. All right, let's move on. USC, Penn State. This is a bad matchup for USC. They are small on the defensive line. Penn State's one of the best running teams in the country. All right, Nate Singleton, Katron Allen. They may not throw the ball great just yet with Drew Aller and Julian Fleming. They might break out at some point too. Eventually, sometimes colleges just have a breakout game. I don't know if this is a breakout game for Penn State throwing the ball or not, but they can run the ball. USC can't stop it. Penn State's one of the best defenses in the country, top 3. Okay, USC's offensive line is all redshirt freshmen and sophomores outside of the center. The one thing that there's 2 things that make me nervous. This is the most athletic team Penn State's seen all year, USC. Also, Penn State is traveling a long way, and they're facing a wounded USC team that needs a win. They are a wounded animal backed into the corner. They're either going to win this game and be a dangerous team the rest of the year, or they're going to lose and stick a fork in them. They're done. It's one or the other. I am taking Penn State, but I'm not taking the points, the spread. I don't even know what it is. If it's more than 1 point, I ain't taking it. I'm taking Penn State. All right, what are the other two games? Texas, Oklahoma. Texas is favored by 14.5. I'm taking Texas. I'm taking the over. Oklahoma's defense is the reason this game could be interesting. There's a chance they could potentially stifle Texas a little bit. Maybe you get a defensive score or two like they did against Auburn. They won that game a couple weeks ago. I'm going to take Texas. I'm going to take the over, and I hope this game is much more competitive than I think it's going to be. I forgot to mention Kansas State and Colorado both are coming off buys. Dion is 1-5 versus ranked teams, but when you look back at last year, he's still building that program. In fairness, LSU, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the favorite. Here's what makes me nervous. And even though I think Ole Miss is the better team, Jackson Dart, they're the number one passing offense in the country. LSU's defense is the 93rd pass defense in the country. Everything about this sets up for Ole Miss to win the game. Here's what makes me nervous. LSU's off a bye. Ole Miss has played for 7 straight weeks. Ole Miss is at home. LSU is at home. Ole Miss is coming off back-to-back 2 straight road trips. If Ole Miss wins this game, it's all the little intangibles that scare me. I think Ole Miss is the better team. It's all the little intangibles that scare me. They're the number one sack team in the country. Pressure rate team in the country. Defensively, Ole Miss is. The thing that scares me is everything stacks up in LSU's corner, from home field to bye week to not having, played a bunch of close games recently like Ole Miss has, and a couple of rough losses, I might add. LSU's had a couple of close games, but the bye week is huge. I'm going to take LSU because of the intangibles, the same reason I'm taking Oregon over Ohio State. We got any time left, Jake?
Just one little bit of time. I did want to let you know there's one more text on the Starter Heyman text line.
What do we got?
Says, I hope you know that the shirt you're wearing is just the best shirt ever. That sport is just amazing, from your favorite daughter.
Oh, which daughter?
I don't know. Your favorite, I guess.
They all claim to be. I'm not even making this up. They all claim to be my favorite. They walk around. They don't even say favorite daughter. They say favorite kid. My guess is Trinity. She's the biggest soccer fan in the house. That would be my guess. I've got 4 kids that play soccer, 4 girls, and I've got a wife that coaches club soccer. I had no idea I'd spent so much freaking time at a soccer field in my life, but I love it because I'm watching my kids. I'm watching my wife. This is a 2XL. Looks like it's medium. But yes, I am a proud soccer dad, ladies and gentlemen. All right, anything else, Jake?
No. Just quick shout out from Marcus. Says you're one of the top 5 Nebraska players ever. One of his favorites. So.
Oh, wow. Marcus, that his name?
Yep.
Highly intelligent. Thank you, Marcus. You can send in as many texts as you would like. I hope everyone has a phenomenal weekend. Go Big Red. And, man, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to sit my butt on that couch, and I'm watching college football all day, baby. Until next time. Till Monday. Go Big Red Noise. Remember, to throw the bones.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Tottenham plays West Ham